Hello, welcome to the latest Lukozer retro game review video. For this one it is Sanxion, which was released by Thalamus in 1987, I believe. And this was the first release of the then new Thalamus label. So it was obviously, well, I think it was the first game that Stavros Fasoulas had published. I think he was only about like 16 or 17 when he wrote this. And despite the clearly Greek sounding origins of his name, he was actually from Finland. His Dane's programming career was interrupted by his national service, but by that time he had already done Sanxion, Delta and Quedex, so you know, he'd already got quite, you know, gained quite some notoriety. So yes, this is the first of his games and the first of the Thalamus releases. Now this game was made particularly noteworthy due to the loading music, which was composed by Rob Hubbard, and a lot of people consider it to be Rob Hubbard's finest, well, his finest moment. But I am not a lot of people, and I don't like it one bit. I think it sounds a fucking mess. It's quite clear that they basically said to him, okay, you can have a lot more, you know, a lot more RAM available to you to be able to program this particular piece, so go for your life. And he, you know, it was quite a complex piece, quite an in-depth piece. I just don't rate it. I just think it's a bit of a mess. Nevertheless, it's on my retro computer music playlist, so if you want to listen, there it is. Anyway, let's get the game underway and we'll show you what this is all about. So you can see the game, or the screen rather, is effectively split into two, and you can also see that I am unbelievably rusty at this fucking thing. The top screen is essentially a sort of like early warning system come, oh well, I guess it's like a scanner. But you can also see that from the top screen that not everything that you see in the bottom screen, you fucker, is actually in line with your ship. So your shots look as though they are going straight through them, but in fact it's because they are quite simply just the ships you're firing at are not in line with you. As well as the, oh for fuck's sake, you can tell I'm fucking rusty on this thing. As far as the action itself goes, you can clearly see that it is a horizontal scrolling shoot 'em up, and it can be quite fast paced if you don't play the game like I do, i.e. I go as slow as I can in order to try and get myself some sort of chance of getting through. Now you can't always get away with that, because for one thing you have a timer, and if you don't get through before that timer runs out, then that's game over. At least I think it is, because the timer has now run out and yet I'm still going. So maybe that is just a bonus thing. Anyway, we are... I knew that was going to happen. I'm so fucking close to completing level 1. As you increase speed, your ship moves closer to the centre of the screen. And as you slow down, moves back toward, yeah, so I got no bonus because I was way too slow. It moves back to the left hand side. Now moving up and down, well, doesn't hold you that way. Once you it's bonus level, I've got to shoot as many of these things as I can. Yeah, you have to keep moving yourself back up because, as you can see, you don't stay in the position you put yourself in. It keeps sort of like gliding back down again, which makes controlling the ship, for me anyway, a fucking pain in the arse. So here we go with level 2. You saw what a fucking complete bollocks up job I was doing at level 1. So I mean, you dread to think how badly I'm going to do with level 2. But we'll try and go a bit faster. I could see myself getting straight into that. So another fuck up. Alright, that one will go. So while we're doing this, let's get on with the game. Or get on with the review. Graphically, it's okay without being anything remarkable, at least if you ask me. I have seen worse. In terms of audio, I like the in-game sounds. They are not bad. The music, now the title page, is a rendition of Prokofiev's The Darkness of the Nights from Romeo and Juliet, which is a reasonable version, I guess. Incidentally, anybody who refers to it as the theme from The Apprentice will earn themselves a ban from my channel for being a fucking Philistine. And yeah, I say you fucking cunt. Their sound effects are okay. Actually, I just remembered there's something about the graphics that I don't like at all. It's the I'm going to have to start another go just to show this fucking point that I'm about to make. It is your ship's habit of constantly wobbling left, from left to right, as you can see there. I fucking wish it wouldn't do it. I find it very off-putting. Not as off-putting as I find that, though. So yeah, it's a bit of a distraction for me. Not every player I know suffers from it. But yeah, it annoys me, and if I'm playing the game, then it becomes a big deal. So yeah, right, so that is graphics and sound covered. Oh, for fuck's sake. As for the gameplay, I find the gameplay very shallow. There's not really an awful lot here to differentiate it from other shoot 'em ups, except that it is very unforgiving, which is something that became a sort of trademark of both Stavros Fasoulas, especially with his shoot 'em ups, and certainly a trademark of Thalamus. The Thalamus label, for the most part with their shoot 'em ups, not always, but most of them, almost showed utter contempt for newcomers or casual gamers. It got to the stage where it felt like they were saying, oh, you're a casual shoot 'em up player, well fuck off, we don't want anything to do with you. So yeah, you got games like this which, you know, just I say, for a casual gamer, it's as if it didn't want to know. It thought you weren't worthy of well, whatever. And I didn't like that at the time, and I don't like it now. I say that carried on with Delta. It definitely carried on with Armalite, and it just went on and on and on. About the only shoot 'em ups that Thalamus did that didn't show this contempt for casual players or newcomers, I think, is Hunter's Moon, which is fantastic, and that one. No, and Hawkeye, or at least for the Commodore 64. For the Amiga, it just showed content for anybody who had a fucking Amiga. So yeah, I think the difficulty level is too high, which makes it frustrating. But then if it didn't have this high difficulty level, it would have pretty much nothing. There isn't really anything here to make you think, wow, this is great, I want to play this more often. It's very forgettable, which probably goes a long way to explain why the Rob Hubbard loading music was by far the one thing about the game that stuck in people's mind, because there wasn't really anything else here to make people, you know, remember the game, or at least remember it in a positive way. So that's enough for me. I've had enough of this fucking game. So yeah, I think it's too hard, and it's not very memorable, or at least not very memorable for any of the right reasons. So I give this game 3. I mean, it's not, you know, the sort of game that I hate so much that I'll do, you know, a huge rant about it, because it's just, there's not enough here to make it worth ranting about. But at the same time, there is nothing here to make me say, yeah, this is great. It's really is a game of not much at all. So, yeah, quite forgettable stuff, really. So that is Sanxion for Commodore 64. 3 out of 10. I just don't like it, and I don't even like the Rob Hubbard loading music that so many people rave about. So that brings this video to an end, and we will see you at the next one.